Commander Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Void Destroyer. Through the massive viewing screen, he could see thousands of ships spread across space like deadly stars. This was the largest invasion fleet the Zephyrian hegemony had ever assembled. 10,000 warships, 50 million soldiers, all headed toward one small blue planet. "Status report," Vextar commanded. His voice echoed through the bridge where dozens of officers worked at their stations. "Sir, we are now 3 days from the target system," reported his second-in-command, Captain Krelnox. "All ships are in formation. Weapons are charged. The soldiers are ready." Vextar nodded with satisfaction. This would be easy. Too easy. He had conquered 17 star systems for the hegemony. Some planets had fought back with primitive lasers or crude missiles. Others had surrendered without firing a shot. But none had given them real trouble. Earth would be no different. He activated his personal display and reviewed the intelligence data again. The humans were pathetic. Their fastest ships used chemical rockets that could barely reach their own moon. They had only recently split the atom. Their most advanced satellites were simple metal boxes with basic electronics. "Look at this," Vextar said to Captain Krelnox, pointing at images of human spacecraft. "They still use controlled explosions to push their ships. Like throwing rocks. How did such primitive creatures even survive this long?" Captain Krelnox studied the data. "Perhaps they are lucky, sir. Their planet is far from any major threats." "Not anymore," Vextar said with a cold smile. "The hegemony needs new slaves. These humans will serve us well in the mines. Those who resist will feed our livestock." The bridge crew laughed. It was always the same. Every species thought they were special until the hegemony showed them otherwise. The humans would learn just like all the others. Vextar walked to the central command station. The fleet had been traveling for 6 months from their home system. During that time, they had studied every transmission from Earth, human entertainment broadcasts, military communications, scientific discussions. All of it painted the same picture of a young, weak civilization. "Sir," called out Communications Officer Zelfer, "we are receiving new intelligence from our long-range scouts." "Display it," Vextar ordered. The main screen showed recent images of Earth's solar system. There was the yellow star they called Sol, the small rocky planets closer to the star, the gas giants further out, and scattered throughout tiny dots that represented human space activity. "What are those?" Vextar asked, pointing to several structures near the large gas planet called Jupiter. "Mining stations, sir," Zelfer replied. "The humans extract helium from the planet's atmosphere. Very crude operations. No weapons detected." Vextar studied the images more carefully. The structures looked simple enough. Metal frameworks with basic equipment. Nothing that could threaten even their smallest scout ships. "Any defense platforms?" he asked. "None, sir. The humans have a few armed satellites around their home planet. But they are primitive. Kinetic weapons and simple missiles. Our shields will not even notice them." Vextar felt almost disappointed. Where was the challenge? Where was the glory in conquering such weaklings? Meanwhile, far across the solar system, Admiral Sarah Chen sat in a secured bunker deep beneath the Colorado mountains. The operations center around her buzzed with quiet activity. Dozens of technicians monitored screens showing data from sensors throughout the solar system. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Morrison from his station. "Outer perimeter sensors confirm the alien fleet has passed Jupiter. They are maintaining course for Earth." "Copy that," Admiral Chen replied calmly. "Have they detected our assets?" "Negative, ma'am. They are scanning the mining platforms but showing no awareness of the concealed installations." Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. The plan was working perfectly. For 70 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. Ever since the first deep space telescopes detected signs of alien civilization, Earth's leaders had known this day would come. The mining platforms near Jupiter were real. They did extract helium-3 from the gas giant's atmosphere, but they were also something else. Something the aliens would discover very soon. "Status of the Sol defense grid?" Admiral Chen asked. "All systems green, ma'am," reported Major Williams from the tactical station. "Weapons platforms are powered down and showing minimal signatures. The aliens are reading them as simple mining equipment. And our mobile assets? Hidden among the asteroids as planned. The enemy is flying right into the trap." Admiral Chen had spent 30 years of her life preparing for this invasion. She had studied every piece of intelligence about alien technology. She had overseen the construction of humanity's hidden defenses, and she had trained the crews who would operate them. The aliens thought humans were primitive. They thought Earth would be easy prey. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Back on the Void Destroyer, Commander Vextar continued reviewing the tactical situation. His fleet would reach Mars in 2 days. From there, it would be less than a day to Earth. The humans would probably try to surrender when they saw the size of his force. "Oh, species did, sir." Captain Krelnox interrupted his thoughts. "Should we send a surrender demand to the humans?" Vextar considered this. Standard hegemony protocol was to offer one chance for peaceful submission. It made the conquest more legitimate in the eyes of the galactic community. Prepare the message, he decided. Tell them they have one chance to surrender. If they submit now, we will only take half their population as slaves. If they resist, we will take them all. Yes, sir. As Captain Krelnox worked on the surrender demand, Vextar looked out at his magnificent fleet. The ships stretched as far as he could see. Each one was a masterpiece of Zephyrian engineering. Their hulls could withstand anything the humans might throw at them. Their weapons could crack planets. Their soldiers were bred for war. What could possibly go wrong? Deep in the asteroid belt, Chief Petty Officer Jackson floated in the control room of Mining Station Delta 7. Like dozens of other stations scattered throughout the solar system, Delta 7 looked like exactly what it claimed to be, a simple facility for extracting minerals from asteroids, but appearances could be deceiving. "Chief," called out Specialist Rodriguez from her console, "we have movement. The alien fleet just passed Jupiter. ETA to our position is 36 hours. "Copy that," Jackson replied. "Send confirmation to command. All stations report ready for activation." Jackson had been stationed at Delta 7 for 3 years. During that time, he had helped mine thousands of tons of asteroid ore. He had also helped install something else inside the hollowed-out asteroid, something the aliens would never expect. He looked through the station's viewing port at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, 10,000 alien ships were coming to destroy his home. They thought humans were weak. They thought Earth would fall without a fight. They were about to get the surprise of their lives. The trap was set. The actors were in position, and the greatest battle in human history was about to begin. But the aliens still believed they were the hunters. They had no idea they had already become the prey. The first attack came without warning. Commander Vextar was reviewing morning reports when alarms began screaming throughout his flagship. Red lights flashed across every screen. Officers shouted over each other as they tried to understand what was happening. "Contact! Multiple contacts!" yelled the sensor operator. "Unknown weapons firing from the mining stations." "Impossible," Vextar snapped. "Those are civilian facilities. They have no weapons." On the main screen, he watched in shock as the simple mining platforms near Jupiter suddenly transformed. Metal panels slid away to reveal massive gun barrels. Structures that had looked like ore processors opened up to launch swarms of missiles. What had appeared to be harmless equipment was actually a weapon system unlike anything in Zephyrian records. "Evasive maneuvers," Vextar ordered. But it was too late. The first salvo of human weapons struck the outer edge of his fleet. 3 Zephyrian destroyers simply vanished in balls of plasma fire. Their shields, designed to stop any known weapon, offered no protection at all. "How is this possible?" Captain Krelnox demanded. "Our intelligence said they were primitives." Before Vextar could answer, more attacks erupted across the solar system. Asteroids that had seemed empty suddenly split open to reveal hidden fortresses. Mining ships transformed into warships as concealed weapons emerged from their hulls. Even small communications satellites shed their disguises and began firing precision shots at Zephyrian vessels. Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold from her command bunker. Every screen showed different parts of the solar system where human forces were engaging the alien fleet. The plan was working better than she had hoped. "Jupiter Platform Alpha reports successful activation," called out Lieutenant Morrison. "All weapon systems online. Enemy formation is breaking apart." "Asteroid defense grid status?" Admiral Chen asked. 80% of hidden installations have revealed themselves," Major Williams reported. "The aliens are completely surprised. They are trying to retreat but running into our outer perimeter forces." Admiral Chen nodded with satisfaction. For decades, humanity had built this elaborate deception. Every mining station, every research facility, every piece of equipment in the outer solar system had been designed to serve 2 purposes: The aliens saw only what humans wanted them to see. The real human space program had begun in secret 70 years ago. While the public watched primitive rocket launches, engineers were developing advanced propulsion systems in hidden facilities. While the world celebrated the first moon landing, construction crews were already building bases on Mars and the outer moons. The aliens had studied human broadcasts and seen exactly what humans intended them to see. Chemical rockets, simple satellites, crude weapons, all of it real, but only a tiny fraction of human capability. Commander Vextar tried to make sense of the disaster unfolding around him. His fleet was under attack from all directions. Weapons that should not exist were tearing through Zephyrian shields like paper. Ships that had looked harmless were revealing themselves as advanced warships. "Get me a damage report," he shouted over the noise of explosions. "Sir, we have lost over 200 ships in the first wave," Captain Krelnox reported. "The humans are using some kind of plasma-based weapon system. Our shields cannot stop it, and their ships? They are faster than our intelligence indicated. Much faster. They are using gravity to accelerate around planets and moons. Our targeting systems cannot keep up." Vexitar stared at the tactical display. His perfect formation was in ruins. Human ships darted between the gas giant's moons like deadly insects, striking his vessels and disappearing before the Zephyrians could respond. Other human forces had emerged from the asteroid belt and were attacking his flanks. "Sir," called the communications officer, "I am detecting massive energy signatures from the inner system. More human ships are approaching. How many?" "Unknown, sir. They are using some kind of stealth technology. Our sensors cannot get an accurate count. This was impossible." The intelligence had been perfect. Years of observation had shown the humans to be decades behind Zephyrian technology. How could they have hidden such advanced capabilities? Chief Petty Officer Jackson smiled as he watched alien ships explode on his screens. Mining Station Delta 7 had just fired its fourth salvo from the massive railgun hidden inside the asteroid. Each shot accelerated a tungsten projectile to a significant fraction of light speed. Nothing could survive a direct hit. "Target acquired," Specialist Rodriguez announced. "Alien cruiser bearing 27 Mark IV. "Fire when ready," Jackson ordered. The asteroid shuddered slightly as the railgun discharged. On the screen, they watched the projectile streak across space and punch completely through the alien ship. The vessel broke apart in a brilliant explosion. "That is 12 confirmed kills," Rodriguez reported with satisfaction. Jackson nodded. Across the solar system, dozens of similar installations were wreaking havoc on the alien fleet. The enemy had expected to face primitive rockets and chemical explosives. Instead, they were learning about human ingenuity the hard way. The hidden bases on Europa and Titan were now launching their own attacks. The aliens found themselves caught between multiple waves of human forces, each using tactics and weapons the Zephyrians had never encountered before. Admiral Chen received updates from across the solar system. The initial phase of the defense was exceeding all expectations. Human casualties were minimal while alien losses mounted rapidly. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Morrison called out, "we are receiving a transmission from the alien flagship." "Put it through." The main screen showed the image of an alien commander. His face was pale with shock and fear. Behind him, the bridge of his ship was filled with smoke and emergency lights. "Human forces," the alien said in heavily accented English. "I am Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian hegemony. We demand an immediate ceasefire. You are attacking us without provocation." Admiral Chen stepped forward so the alien could see her clearly. "Commander Vextar, I am Admiral Chen of Earth Defense. You entered our solar system with an invasion fleet. You broadcast surrender demands threatening to enslave our population. There is no ceasefire." "You do not understand," Vextar said desperately. "We are the Zephyrian hegemony. We have conquered 17 star systems. You cannot resist us." "Commander," Admiral Chen replied calmly, "you are about to discover that human beings do not make good slaves. We suggest you reconsider your career choices." She cut the transmission and turned back to her staff. "All units, continue the attack. No alien ship leaves this system." The battle raged on across millions of kilometers of space. Human forces struck from every direction, using the solar system itself as a weapon. Ships hiding in Saturn's rings emerged to attack passing aliens. Forces concealed on the dark side of moons launched surprise raids. Even the asteroid belt became a war zone as human installations revealed themselves one by one. The Zephyrians tried to adapt, but they were fighting an enemy unlike any they had faced before. Human tactics were aggressive and unpredictable. Where other species had fought defensively, humans attacked constantly. Where others had tried to preserve their forces, humans seemed willing to sacrifice anything to inflict damage on the invaders. Commander Vextar watched his fleet disintegrate around him. In less than 6 hours, he had lost nearly a third of his ships. The humans showed no sign of slowing their assault. If anything, they seemed to be growing stronger as more hidden forces revealed themselves. "Sir," Captain Krelnock said quietly, "perhaps we should consider withdrawal." Vextar looked at the tactical display. His mighty fleet was scattered across the outer solar system, under constant attack by an enemy that had appeared from nowhere. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a fortress, but retreat would mean admitting defeat. It would mean reporting to the hegemony that a supposedly primitive species had destroyed the greatest invasion force in their history. "No," he said firmly. "We continue to Earth. Once we reach their home planet, they will have to come to us. We can force them into a direct battle." Captain Krelnox looked doubtful but said nothing. The surviving ships began moving toward the inner solar system, still under constant harassment from human forces. Neither of them realized that Admiral Chen was counting on exactly this decision. The outer system had been just the beginning. The real surprises were waiting closer to Earth. The retreat became a nightmare. Commander Vextar had ordered his remaining ships to fall back toward Mars, hoping to regroup and plan a new attack. But the humans had no intention of letting them escape. As the Zephyrian fleet limped through the asteroid belt, human forces emerged from every hiding place to strike at the wounded aliens. "Sir, we have lost contact with the Crimson Talon," reported Captain Krelnox. "That makes 47 ships destroyed in the last hour." Vextar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His fleet was being hunted like prey animals. Every asteroid could hide a human weapon. Every piece of space debris might conceal an enemy ship. The humans fought like nothing he had ever seen before. "How many ships do we have left?" he asked. "Less than 7,000, sir. And many of those are damaged. 7,000 ships. He had started with 10,000 of the finest warships in the galaxy. In less than 12 hours, the humans had destroyed almost a third of his fleet without losing a single major vessel of their own. The main screen flickered as another message came through from human forces. This time it showed a different officer, a younger woman with cold eyes. "Zephyrian vessels," she said calmly. "This is Captain Martinez of the human vessel Relentless. You are entering the inner asteroid belt. We advise you to surrender now." Vextar stepped forward angrily. "We do not surrender to primitives." "You have been lucky so far, but our main force is still intact. When we reach your planet, we will show you the true power of the hegemony." Captain Martinez smiled without warmth. "Commander, you still do not understand. You are not hunting us. We are hunting you." The transmission ended and immediately new alarms began screaming across Vextar's bridge. On every side, massive shapes emerged from the asteroid field. Not hidden weapons this time, but entire asteroids that had been converted into mobile fortresses. "Impossible," Vextar whispered. "They turned asteroids into warships?" The answer came in the form of devastating weapon fire. The asteroid ships were armed with weapons that dwarfed anything on Zephyrian vessels. Beams of coherent energy sliced through alien hulls like they were made of paper. Swarms of missiles erupted from concealed launch tubes. But worse than the weapons was the way the humans fought. They coordinated their attacks with mechanical precision. Ships that should have been easy targets moved in complex patterns that confused Zephyrian targeting systems. Human forces appeared where they were least expected and vanished before the aliens could respond. Captain Sarah Martinez watched the battle from the bridge of her ship. The Relentless was one of 12 vessels that had been hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid for 3 years. When the aliens entered the belt, the human ships had emerged like predators from their lairs. "Target the alien flagship," she ordered. "All weapons, full power." "Ma'am," her weapons officer replied, "the target is heavily shielded. Our standard weapons may not penetrate." Martinez smiled grimly. "Then it is time to show them what humans do when standard weapons are not enough. Deploy the hammer rounds." The hammer rounds were a human innovation that violated several treaties with civilized species. They were projectiles designed to punch through any known shield technology using pure kinetic energy. Each round was essentially a telephone pole made of tungsten, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. The Relentless fired 3 hammer rounds in quick succession. The first round overloaded the alien flagship's shields. The second punched a hole through the ship's armor. The third round went completely through the vessel from bow to stern. Vextar felt his ship shudder under the impact. Emergency lights flashed as systems failed throughout the flagship. The bridge filled with smoke and the screams of injured officers. "Hull breach on deck 7 through 15, reported the damage control officer. "We are losing atmosphere. Emergency force fields are failing. Return fire," Vextar ordered desperately. But the human ships were already gone, vanished back into the asteroid field like ghosts. The aliens found themselves shooting at empty space while more attacks came from completely different directions. This was how humans fought, Vextar realized with growing horror. They did not stand and trade blows like honorable warriors. They struck from hiding, inflicted maximum damage, and disappeared before their enemies could respond. It was like being attacked by a swarm of deadly insects. Admiral Chen monitored the battle from her command center. The asteroid belt engagement was proceeding exactly as planned. Human forces were inflicting devastating casualties while remaining almost untouchable themselves. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Morrison, "the enemy fleet is attempting to break through our middle perimeter. Should we let them pass?" "Negative," Admiral Chen replied. "All units are authorized to engage at will. No alien ship reaches Mars orbit intact." The order went out across human communication networks. In response, more hidden forces revealed themselves. Mining ships shed their disguises and deployed military-grade weapons. Cargo vessels opened their holds to launch fighter squadrons. Even civilian transports activated concealed defense systems. The aliens found themselves facing an entire civilization that had prepared for war. Every human in the solar system, military or civilian, had trained for this moment. Every piece of equipment had been designed to serve double duty as both tool and weapon. Commander Vextar tried to understand how his intelligence could have been so wrong. The humans had not just hidden their military capability. They had hidden their entire technological level. Every observation, every intercepted transmission, every piece of data had been carefully crafted to deceive potential invaders. "Sir?" Captain Krelnock said urgently. "Long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures from Mars orbit. The humans have major installations there as well." Vextar felt his last hopes crumble. Mars was supposed to be lightly defended. His plan had been to use the Red Planet as a staging area for the final assault on Earth. But if the humans had fortified Mars as heavily as the outer system, how many ships are we detecting? "Unknown, sir." They are using active jamming. But the energy readings suggest at least 1,000 vessels. 1,000 ships at Mars. Thousands more scattered throughout the asteroid belt. And Earth itself was still ahead, undoubtedly protected by even stronger defenses. For the first time in his career, Vextar considered the possibility that he might lose this battle. The Zephyrian hegemony had conquered 17 star systems, but they had never faced an enemy like humanity. Other species fought to defend their worlds. Humans fought to destroy their enemies completely. The battle continued to rage across millions of kilometers of space. Human forces struck without mercy, showing no interest in taking prisoners or accepting surrender. They had seen the aliens' demands for slaves and genocide. They had studied records of what the Zephyrian hegemony did to conquered worlds. This was not a battle for territory or resources. This was a war of extermination, and the humans intended to be the ones who survived. Captain Martinez received new orders from Admiral Chen as her ship prepared for another attack run. The message was simple and direct. No survivors, no witnesses, no alien ship leaves this system. Martinez understood the reasoning. If any Zephyrians escaped to report what they had found, other alien empires might unite against humanity. The secret of human capability had to be preserved at all costs. "All ships, this is Martinez," she broadcast to her squadron. "New rules of engagement. We are not taking prisoners. We are not accepting surrenders. Every alien vessel must be destroyed." Her crew acknowledged the orders without question. They had seen the intelligence reports about Zephyrian conquest methods. They knew what would happen to Earth if the invaders succeeded. The hunt continued through the asteroid belt as human forces systematically destroyed the fleeing alien ships. Some Zephyrians tried to surrender, broadcasting pleas for mercy in broken English. Others attempted to hide among the asteroids, hoping to escape detection. None of it mattered. The humans had prepared for this battle for 70 years. They knew the location of every rock, every hiding place, every possible escape route. The asteroid belt had become a killing ground, and the aliens were trapped inside it with no way out. Commander Vextar watched his fleet die around him. The proud Zephyrian hegemony, conqueror of 17 worlds, was being systematically annihilated by a species they had dismissed as primitive savages, and they were still 3 days from Earth. By the time the surviving Zephyrian ships reached Mars orbit, Commander Vextar commanded less than 3,000 vessels. His once mighty invasion fleet had been cut to pieces during the fighting retreat through the asteroid belt. The humans had shown no mercy, hunting down every straggler and destroying every damaged ship that fell behind. "Sir," Captain Krelnox reported with exhaustion in his voice, "we are detecting massive fortifications around Mars. The planet appears to be heavily defended." Vextar looked at the tactical display with growing despair. Mars was surrounded by weapon platforms, orbital stations, and patrol ships. The red planet itself showed signs of extensive military installations on its surface. Even the 2 small moons appeared to have been converted into fortress bases. "How many ships are defending Mars?" he asked. "At least 1,500, sir. Possibly more. They are maintaining communication silence, but the energy signatures are unmistakable. 1,500 human warships, plus orbital defenses, plus ground-based weapons." Vextar realized with sick certainty that his reduced fleet had no chance of breaking through such defenses. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we are receiving a transmission from the Mars Defense Force." The main screen activated to show a human officer in a crisp military uniform. Behind him, the bridge of his ship hummed with quiet efficiency. "Zephyrian vessels," the human said calmly. "This is Admiral Thompson of the Mars Colonial Navy. You have entered our defensive perimeter. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated according to the rules of war." Vextar stepped forward angrily. "We are the Zephyrian hegemony. We do not surrender to inferior species. Stand aside or be destroyed." Admiral Thompson's expression did not change. "Commander, you have lost 70% of your fleet. Your ships are damaged, and your crews are demoralized. This is your only chance to save the lives of your remaining soldiers." "Never!" Vextar shouted. "We will fight until the last ship." "As you wish," Admiral Thompson replied quietly. "All Mars defense units, you are cleared to engage. Show them what happens to slavers who threaten our home." The transmission ended, and immediately the space around Mars erupted in weapon fire. The Mars Colonial Navy had been humanity's best-kept secret. While Earth maintained the fiction of primitive space travel, Mars had been developed into a major military base. The red planet's lower gravity made it ideal for constructing massive warships. Its position in the solar system provided an excellent staging area for deep space operations. For 50 years, human engineers had worked in the Martian shipyards, building vessels that incorporated the best technology humanity could develop. The ships were faster, more maneuverable, and better armed than anything the Zephyrians had ever encountered. Admiral Thompson watched from his flagship as the Mars fleet engaged the alien invaders. His ships moved in perfect coordination, executing maneuvers that would have been impossible for less advanced vessels. Human crews trained their entire careers for battles like this. "All squadrons execute Phoenix formation," Thompson ordered. "Target their heavy cruisers first. Cut the head off the snake." The human ships split into multiple attack groups, each focusing on a different part of the alien formation. They used Mars itself as cover, swinging around the planet to strike at unexpected angles. The Zephyrians found themselves under attack from multiple directions simultaneously. Vextar tried to coordinate his fleet's response, but the humans were too fast and too coordinated. Every time he ordered ships to target a human vessel, it had already moved to a new position. The enemy seemed to anticipate his every command. "Sir," Captain Krelnox called out urgently, "our shields are failing. We cannot withstand much more of this." Vextar looked at the damage reports streaming across his screens. His flagship was being torn apart by human weapons that seemed designed specifically to penetrate Zephyrian defenses. Every system was failing one by one. "Sir," the sensor operator shouted over the noise of explosions. "More human ships approaching from Earth direction. Large formation, heavily armed. On the tactical display, Vextar could see them coming. Hundreds of additional human vessels emerging from the inner solar system. These ships were different from the Mars fleet. Larger, more heavily armed. If the Mars defenders were impressive, these new arrivals looked absolutely deadly. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Earth defense ship Retribution. Around her, the combined fleet of humanity's home system moved toward Mars orbit. This was Earth's main battle fleet, held in reserve until now. Status of Mars engagement? She asked. Admiral Thompson reports successful contact, her communications officer replied. Enemy fleet is engaged and taking heavy casualties. Estimated alien losses at 40% and climbing. Excellent. Signal all ships to prepare for final assault. We will finish this here. The Earth fleet had been built for one purpose, to completely destroy any threat to humanity's home planet. Every ship was armed with the most advanced weapons human science could produce. Every crew member had trained for years to fight in the final battle for Earth's survival. As the Earth ships joined the battle, the remaining Zephyrians found themselves trapped between two massive human fleets. Mars orbit became a graveyard of alien vessels as human forces pressed their attack without mercy. Commander Vexitar realized that his invasion had become a disaster beyond imagination. The Zephyrian hegemony had sent its greatest fleet to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they had awakened a military power that could destroy them completely. Sir, Captain Krelnock said quietly, perhaps we should attempt to escape. If we can break through their lines. No, Vexitar replied with bitter certainty. Look at their formation. They have us completely surrounded. There is no escape. The humans had planned this battle perfectly. Every possible escape route was blocked by human ships. The aliens were trapped in Mars orbit with no way out and no hope of victory. The final phase of the battle began as Earth's heavy battleships moved into range. These vessels mounted weapons that had never been tested in combat, experimental systems that pushed the boundaries of human technology. The aliens were about to become test subjects for humanity's most advanced military science. The battleship Thunderchild fired its primary weapon for the first time in combat. The gravitational beam ripped through space and struck a Zephyrian heavy cruiser. The alien ship simply collapsed in on itself as the weapon created a localized gravity well that crushed the vessel like an empty can. Other human ships deployed equally devastating weapons. Quantum torpedoes that phased through normal matter before exploding inside enemy hulls. Plasma cannons that burned at temperatures found only in stellar cores. Antimatter missiles that converted entire ships into pure energy. The Zephyrians had no defense against such weapons. Their shields and armor designed to stop conventional energy weapons were useless against technology that operated on fundamentally different principles. Vextar watched in horror as his remaining ships were destroyed one by one. The humans showed no interest in taking prisoners or accepting surrender. They had apparently decided that the Zephyrian hegemony posed too great a threat to be allowed to survive. Sir, Captain Krelnock said desperately, we are the last ship. All other vessels have been destroyed. Vextar looked around his bridge. Half his crew was dead or wounded. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the damaged walls. The smell of burning electronics filled the air. Open a channel to the human fleet, he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing Admiral Chen on the bridge of her flagship. Behind her, human officers worked calmly at their stations, as if the complete destruction of an alien invasion fleet was routine business. Admiral, Vextar said quietly, I am Commander Vextar, last survivor of the Zephyrian invasion force. I formally surrender my ship and request mercy for my remaining crew. Admiral Chen studied him for a long moment before replying. Commander, your hegemony made its intentions clear when you entered our system. You came here to enslave our population and strip our world of resources. You showed no mercy to the 17 civilizations you conquered before us. Please, Vextar begged. My crew are just following orders. They do not deserve to die. Neither did the billions of people your hegemony has killed, Admiral Chen replied coldly. But there is something you can do for them. Record a message to your homeworld. Tell them what happened here. Tell them what humans do to slavers and genocidal empires. Vextar understood. The humans were going to kill him and his crew, but they wanted to send a message first. A warning to other alien civilizations about the price of threatening Earth. He activated his ship's communication system and began recording his final message to the Zephyrian homeworld. As he spoke, human ships moved into position around his damaged vessel, their weapons charged and ready to fire. The message would be the only thing to survive the battle at Mars. Commander Vexistar's final message reached the Zephyrian homeworld 6 months later. The communication arrived at the capital city just as the High Council was debating why their greatest invasion fleet had gone silent after entering the Sol system. Honored Council, Vexistar's recorded image said from the main display, "I am sending this final transmission from the last ship of our invasion force. In 12 hours we will be dead. Every vessel, every soldier, every officer of our mighty fleet has been destroyed by the humans." The council chamber fell silent. High Counselor Zethvar leaned forward in disbelief. This must be some kind of deception. The humans are primitives. Our intelligence confirmed it. But Vextar's message continued with devastating detail. He described the hidden weapon platforms that had torn apart the fleet near Jupiter. He told of the asteroid fortresses that had hunted them through the belt. He spoke of weapons that defied Zephyrian understanding, and tactics that had completely outmatched their finest military minds. "The humans are not primitives," Vextar said with haunted eyes. "They are apex predators who have been preparing for our arrival for generations. They turned their entire solar system into a trap, and we flew directly into it. Every piece of intelligence we gathered was carefully crafted to deceive us." The recording showed glimpses of the battle around Mars, through the bridge windows of Vextar's ship. Human vessels moved with impossible coordination, while alien ships exploded in brilliant fireballs. The carnage was total and one-sided. "If any of our people receive this message," Vextar concluded, "do not underestimate these humans. Do not attempt revenge. They have technology and weapons beyond our current understanding. Most importantly, they fight like nothing we have ever encountered. Where we seek conquest, they seek total destruction of their enemies." The transmission ended with an image of human warships surrounding Vextar's damaged vessel. The final words were barely audible over the sound of failing systems. "They are coming for us now. Tell our families we died fighting, but we never had a chance." High Counselor Zethvar stared at the empty screen in shock. The Zephyrian hegemony had just lost its entire military force to a species they had dismissed as harmless primitives. "This cannot be true," protested Council Member Crixlon. 10,000 ships cannot simply vanish. There must be survivors somewhere. "Send scout ships to investigate," Zethvar ordered. "We need to know what really happened in that system." But the scouts would find only debris fields and the wreckage of Zephyrian vessels scattered across the Sol system. They would also find something else that would terrify the hegemony, even more than the destruction of their fleet. Admiral Chen stood in the main shipyard orbiting Earth, watching the construction of humanity's new fleet. The defeat of the Zephyrian invasion had served its purpose perfectly. Not only had Earth's defenses been tested and proven effective, but humanity now possessed detailed intelligence about alien technology and the broader galactic community. "Status report," she requested from the construction coordinator. "Ma'am, we now have 47 heavy battleships completed. With another 100 in various stages of construction, the new carriers are ahead of schedule, and the deep space exploration vessels are ready for deployment." Admiral Chen nodded with satisfaction. The alien invasion had been a gift in disguise. Captured Zephyrian technology had advanced human science by decades. More importantly, the complete destruction of the invasion fleet had sent a clear message to any other potential threats. "What about the colony ships?" she asked. "The first wave launched yesterday, ma'am. Destination, Zephyrian space. ED 18 months. Admiral Chen smiled coldly. The humans had studied their defeated enemies very carefully. They knew the location of every Zephyrian world, every military installation, every weakness in their defenses. The hegemony had made the mistake of bringing detailed star charts and tactical data with their invasion fleet. Now that information would be used against them. President Williams addressed the hidden session of the Global Defense Council from a secure bunker beneath Geneva. Around the table sat the leaders of every major nation on Earth, along with the commanders of humanity's secret space forces. "The Zephyrian threat has been eliminated," she announced. "However, Our intelligence indicates that other alien empires exist throughout the galaxy. Some may be peaceful, but others will undoubtedly pose threats to human survival. Secretary of Defense Morrison leaned forward. What are you proposing, Madam President? We cannot wait for the next invasion, Williams replied firmly. Humanity must take the initiative. We will establish advanced bases throughout nearby star systems. We will make contact with alien civilizations on our terms, not theirs. And we will eliminate any threats before they can threaten Earth. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity was about to abandon its role as a hidden defensive power and become an active force in galactic politics. The age of human isolation is over, President Williams continued. From now on, any species that threatens innocent worlds will answer to us. Any empire that practices slavery or genocide will face human justice. We will not conquer for conquest's sake, but we will ensure that what happened to the other victims of the Zephyrian hegemony never happens again. Admiral Chen received her new orders that evening. The human fleet would be divided into 3 groups. One would remain to defend the Sol system. The second would establish forward bases in nearby star systems. The third would carry out offensive operations against hostile alien empires. She studied the target list with grim satisfaction. The Zephyrian hegemony was first, of course. Their 17 conquered worlds would be liberated, and their military infrastructure destroyed. But there were other targets as well. Alien empires that practiced slavery, conducted genocide, or posed threats to peaceful species. Humanity had been forced to reveal its true capabilities to defend Earth. Now, those same capabilities would be used to reshape the balance of power across the galaxy. The first human fleet departed for Zephyrian space 3 months later. 200 warships carrying the most advanced weapons human science could produce. Their mission was simple: total destruction of the hegemony's ability to threaten anyone ever again. High Counselor Zethvar received the news of approaching human ships with terror and disbelief. The scout reports had confirmed the worst. The Sol system was now heavily fortified with weapons that could destroy any Zephyrian vessel. Worse, the humans had not been content to simply defend their home. They were bringing the war to Zephyrian space. How long until they reach our home world? He asked his military advisor. 6 weeks, Honored Counselor. Our remaining fleets are attempting to organize a defense, but after reviewing the battle recordings from Sol, the advisor did not need to finish. Everyone had seen the recordings. The humans fought with a ruthless efficiency that made Zephyrian military doctrine look like children playing with toys. Prepare evacuation ships, Zethvar ordered quietly. Begin moving civilians to the outer colonies. If the humans fight here like they fought at their homeworld, he did not want to complete that thought either. Across the galaxy, other alien civilizations received copies of Vextar's final message. The recording spread through interstellar communication networks like wildfire. Within a year, every major species knew about the fate of the Zephyrian invasion fleet. Some dismissed it as propaganda or exaggeration. Others took it as a warning to avoid the Sol system entirely. A few began making preparations to contact these dangerous humans directly, hoping to establish peaceful relations before the humans came looking for them. But all of them understood that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted forever. A new apex predator had revealed itself among the stars. Humanity had announced its presence not with words or diplomacy, but with the complete annihilation of anyone foolish enough to threaten their home. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Years later, xenobiologists would study the humans and try to understand what made them so uniquely dangerous. They would discover that humans were pack hunters who had evolved on a world where everything tried to kill them. They had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and natural disasters that would have destroyed other species. Most importantly, humans had a peculiar trait that made them unlike any other known species. When threatened, they did not just defend themselves. They eliminated the threat completely and permanently. The Zephyrian hegemony learned this lesson too late. Their empire lasted 3 more months after the human fleet arrived in their space. Then it simply ceased to exist, along with any records of their 17 conquests. The liberated worlds would eventually build monuments to honor their human liberators. But the monuments would carry a warning as well. Humanity protected the innocent but showed no mercy to those who preyed upon the weak. In the end, the aliens had been right about one thing. Earth was inhabited by primitives. They just had not understood what kind of primitives they were dealing with.